Okay, keep going.
All right, I'm Jan David Jörrissen. I'm from Germany, actually, so I hope you have understanding when I cannot express myself always that well. And my topic is: do arts enhance creativity through motivation? Actually, it's the topic my second blog. It's 1 week ago that I wrote it, and I was inspired by the TED Talks I saw on Blackboard, and especially of Sir Ken Robinson. And why is that cut off? Is there anything? Oh, that's weird. Well, go on. But it's just. There's also text down here, but okay. All right. So the final goal of is finally from Sir Ken Robinson and Diana Laufenberg to reach full potential of intelligence through creativity, I thought. And they really focused on arts and outlined the importance of it. And in one talk of Sir Ken Robinson, he also outlined that there are that usually parents advise children to not focus on arts because it's unprofitable and you won't make a lot of money out of it. And the consequences, he also talks about them, is that many people follow or pursue careers they are not really interested in, they are not really content with what they are doing, and this leads to discontent and often also relief when the week is over. And that shouldn't be like this, right? And there was a big talk from 2006, his most famous one, where he gave a counterexample of Julian Lin, who was is a choreographer and did musicals like The Phantom of the Opera and Cats, and she was really interested in dancing, and she started dancing from when she was young, and she really focused on it and made it to her career, her own career, and she really likes what she's doing. And what Sir Ken Robinson took out of this story is that there are different kind of learners, and there are some learners like her who have to dance in order to think, and our education system is not really focusing on diversity, on creativity, and I think creativity is like a big thing to enhance that different kind of learners, the achievements of them. Okay, and my proposal then is that the final goal is to work in a job that you like and to live productive and joyful lives. And to get to this point, you have to first find out about your strength and your interests. And I also think that creativity leads to learning more about yourself and to experimenting what your strengths are. And therefore also pick the right career. Also. Okay, right now, well, there's a definition of creativity. Sternberg divides it into two levels. The individual level is problem solving in the job and in daily life, and the societal level is just creativity that leads to new scientific findings, inventions, and new art movements and everything. All right, go on. Yeah, creativity in arts. Well, obviously, creativity is one fundamental aspect of arts, and it's just a characteristic of arts. And but it's lacking. But it's in education, it's not. It's not fundamental. But you can work on that, and you can implement and introduce creativity into education to make it better. And some findings were that creativity, for example, improves the imagination. Then creativity leads to an increase in performances in spatial reasoning, increase in academic achievement, and increased self-esteem. And what I was now focusing on was just the motivational part. That also it was found from Chikmen Tylee, 1997, that arts contribute to an increase in students' intrinsic motivation. And one fundamental theory of him was the flow theory, and I just outline it very shortly, that it's an activity where you're totally focused on the task, and it's not what you want to achieve, what's motivating you, but it's the task itself. And it's you also get frequent feedback on the task while you're progressing, because you see what you're doing. And also a characteristic is the concentration. The concentration is focused on the activity. Demands and ability are balanced, so there are no excessive demands, but no boredom either, because it's just the right amount of demand, right? And here this graph depicts it pretty good. So flow is if you have high skills and high challenge. It's a high challenge, and you need to concentrate on the task, but it's not too high of a challenge that you feel anxious about it. Right? Go on. And also, well, flow theory is also the feeling of control of the activity, effortlessness. The worries disappear because you are only concentrated. Feeling of time is changed. Minutes go by, hours go by like minutes, and act and consciousness merge. And two premises are that the activity needs to be pleasurable and joyful, and also, well, like I said, the right level of is needed to achieve this flow. Right. And well, arts is an example, and in the eyes of the children, it's also often perceived as playful, and therefore it's an activity where flow can obviously take place. But there is also different well, aspects of getting motivated is also the interest, and I think interest is actually pretty much or very similar to the flow, because interest is also when you're not when you're just enjoying the task itself and not just working towards a specific goal. And yeah, here it says just if you're engaged in arts, then it leads to interest, and that leads also to motivation. And teachers actually can enhance this interest by also letting the children decide on which topic they're working on. And now an example of this, an implementation of arts in school, is this learning through the arts program from Upetis and Smithrim, implemented in Canada. And it focuses on the arts, and the goal is to engage deeply in learning. And well, they did that approaching this approach by professional artists working together with teachers, and they set up a curriculum together. And so some classes the artists taught. Sometimes the artists taught the children, and other times the teachers, and with different perspectives on the same topic, right? And the analysis finally was comparing the school with other schools who didn't have the project, and who had other projects in school. And that's only, I don't want to read out all this. It's just 6 sites. It's 8 to 11 schools, and there were 4,063 LTTA students and 2,602 control students. And but there was a high attrition rate. I have to move on. And there were quantitative measures and qualitative measures, and at the beginning there were no baseline differences, so you could make actually the comparison between these schools. Go on. Yeah, the results are, at the end, the sixth graders were compared with the sixth graders of the other schools who didn't implement, where the program wasn't implemented, and the sixth graders there had this, well, it was after 3 years, and the students scored significantly higher on computation and estimation tasks, but and the results in language and mathematics tests were the same, were similar. And this shows, that LTTA or arts in education can improve achievement, and it doesn't. Although there wasn't that much focus on language and mathematics teaching, they didn't have worse achievements in that, right? And the explanation was increased engagement through LTTA on the physical, emotional, social, and even transcendental level. And I've got some examples. It just exemplifies the whole process. So teachers, for example, said they are so attentive during the artist's day and therefore learn more. That's an example of the cognitive benefits the students had. And then go on. The physical benefit would be, for example, the dramatics, being able to act out the life cycles of the frog and butterfly. The children really learned those lessons, experiencing it physically made the difference. Going on. And this is the emotional involvement through the eyes of the children. Is, for example, now I know how I can express myself, cooperate, listen, and express ourselves through movement. And the social benefit would be just being more more extroverted, being more integrated into the group, having more fun to go to school. And the transcendental changes was that really mute students began or chose to speak for the first time in a play, for example, in a dramatic play. And the outlook, well, there's still more evidence needed and to back up that arts improve motivation, but also creativity and achievement. And questions would be, for example, do arts have a positive effect on responsibility and increase the initiative to learn? Do arts support self-efficacy by actually seeing the outcome of what has been created? And a final quote is, well, the purpose of art is not the release of a momentary ejection of adrenaline, but rather the gradual lifelong construction of a state of wonder and serenity. And there's also more to it. Well, the program right now was only for 3 years, for a period of 3 years. And right now they're still working on that program and seeing what it takes, what effects it has after 6 years. And arts is, like it says, gradual, so maybe that will have even better, more effects on achievement in school. All right, that's it. Enjoy becoming my references. Any questions?
I'm moving to Canada. So are you saying there should be introducing more art into teaching?
Yeah, in general.
Because I was useless in school. Mm-hmm. I went to a factory when I was like 15 and I was drilling a hole in the box. I thought, I hate this. Mm-hmm. I can't be doing this for the rest of my life. But my father saw I had an interest in mechanics, and I went and did a job that I loved doing. Mm-hmm. I became a motorcycle engineer. That's what I did years ago. Mm-hmm. But I had a love for television and film. Mm-hmm. And only because I had my own company, mm-hmm. I set myself up with my own business, if you don't take in production. Yeah. And that was all to do with the arts, and mm-hmm. I didn't feel like,
of course.
I'm still very much motivated by this sort of work that I do now. Mm-hmm. And I find that when I work with students as well, they feel quite good about it as well when they're actually doing something that's a bit more creative, maybe, or something.
Yeah, and I think also you shouldn't just focus on maybe after school focusing on one career and doing it all your life. It can also change. Goals can change, motivation can change, creativity. Well, at times you have different things that interest you, and maybe you should just change your profession or do something else and not be so be more flexible. And
you think something